greetings. Okay, so this here is something that I want to try. I don't know if this is going to be the first video of this because I have two characters that I wanted to try. Basically, I am creating this template right now that I'd gotten from another YouTuber. Let me see if I can find him. But it's to help draw heads in a 360. So it would basically be like a circle, and those lines help show you like how the head is angled, basically. I don't yeah. So this was basically one of the many guides that I used to make this. I was doing a cheetah head, which was one of my character that is a mechanical cheetah, which I thought was like super cool and whatnot. Yeah, so I got this template from this YouTuber named Menu, and I will try and remember to leave the link of the video down in the description so that you guys could also see. And he also, mentioned a few things of what I practice here in this video so that maybe you guys can do it too. So basically, I screen recorded this section when it was showing the circle like rotating and whatnot, and then now here I am simply cleaning it up, erasing it and whatnot, and then you can see this blue circle that I have. This is to help me line up this sphere the same spot every time. So it was a little fuzzy, but it helped a lot, and you can generally get a good idea of what you're animating with, with that blue circle that helps guide me where it needs to be. So this took a lot of time of blowing it up, getting in the right area, and then erasing everything around it. The reason I wanted to make it bigger, or adjust it in the first place, is to make it bigger, because it was a bit on, you could see it was a bit on the small side, and I wanted to like make the head fill up the whole space of the screen, basically. The scene, the frame, whatever, layer, I don't know. I wanted to fill up the whole space. So I did a lot of this, and I even used this circle for the other character, except I already had this constructed, so I just started drawing on top of it because it was already ready to go and whatnot. So generally, if you've ever seen people draw heads, there's always like guidelines on it that shows where the center of the face is, which normally, cuts right across the nose and whatnot to show where it's at. That's basically what these lines in the sphere are doing, is showing where the center is, basically. So you'll see it be directly in the center whenever somebody is facing you. It's a side or a side view, a 180 side view, and whatnot. So at this point I had completely like found a pretty good rhythm of how to do this the most effective way, because I had a lot of frames to go through and whatnot. So yeah. Okay, so here is where I actually get into the animating process. So, since my character is a cheetah, I pulled some cheetah heads off the internet. All you really need is 3 different angles. So you have one that's straight ahead, and then you have one that is the 180 degrees, just a side view, and then if it's possible to find a 3/4 view where and whatnot. So then here I also had to draw in the blue circle so that I knew how big the head needed to be. I cut around it so it's just the head. I also made some black guidelines to show how much space something is taking up, like where the eyes are, where the ears are, the nose and the chin, and whatnot. And so, as you can see, this cheetah character is a mechanical cheetah. So it has, you know, the very like Five Nights at Freddy's ears, and whatnot. And this is also inspired by this type of species of cheetah called cheetah kings, which are like a darker cheetah, and they have like these 3 stripes on the back of their spine, and they're just darker, and their spots kind of blend together a little bit. They just look so freaking cool. If you ever get a chance to look it up, do. It's cool. They're cool. As you can see here, I'm also adding in the spots and whatnot, and kind of like the mechanical lines of how the head was put together. I don't know, all of this was just like kind of guesstimating, because I don't have any physical 3D sculpture to refer off to, so a lot of this was based off of how you think it's supposed to look, and then compared to some real life references of the cheetah head and whatnot. So this thing had quite a big dome and whatnot. So although the references were a bit off, I still used it as a guide of like the general spacing of where the eyes should be, how the nose is kind of shaped from that angle and whatnot. Even though it's not like in the same space, you could still get the shapes from it and learn from it and whatnot. I also had to redraw some guidelines so I can understand how the head kind of warps out, basically, how it kind of bows out to the nose and whatnot. So then here, basically coloring it. Again, same as my other character you'll see of this 360 head, I use these like bright purpley color as just an underline, and so that I could go back and finalize my line art. Got too lazy, so I just decided, we'll just put some color on it. That's what I did. So it looks a little funky. I prefer to use a navy for line art instead of black, because, you know, navy's cool and you can actually see black compared to if something was actually colored black, you know. So, and just like old times, the coloring process takes absolutely forever. One frame at a time. Now I did have a problem with this. These large triangles on the side of the head, which are also to indicate large spots, they also started to drift and whatnot. So they just kind of slide back a little bit as the head rotated. My bad. So I definitely have to be more mindful about stuff drifting whenever I'm rotating the head or something else. But it actually came out pretty good. Now, of course, it's a little choppy, you know. I don't know how to not make it choppy besides adding more, more frames. But I could also clean up my line work because it's, some of the lines are a little wobbly. I also forgot some lines too as well. Bit disappointing. I like to color the majority. How do I describe this? I like to when I'm coloring something in, use a color that covers the most amount of surface first, and then work down to the littler things, like the spots, the nose sometimes, and the little ears eventually. But I like to get the most amount of color down first and then go back for the detail. Now please don't forget to leave a comment of anything on your mind, whether if it's tips, things you like, things you don't like, things you want me to do or try, want to make something or something. I don't know. Yeah. Yep, anything on your mind, leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to read it. Now, why I decided to make a mechanical animal instead of just drawing the animal, I have a very angular, very sharp way of drawing. I like corners. Corners are nice. But a lot of things in nature are very organic and soft and round. So that kind of clashes with my style a little bit, especially if I want to go for a little bit of realism. That, and I also really wanted to try and draw a mechanical animal because I've seen some really cool pictures of very beautifully drawn mechanical animals that are on like this old-fashioned paper that's very steampunk, and I love that style. That's still a very fun thing for my heart. But drawing something mechanical with a lot of parts that not only make sense but seem accurate is a bit on the tricky side with me. So actually having to plan out what should be there based on if it's a joint or straight leg, or like say it's its body. The cheetah, whenever it runs, it folds and extends his body very extremely. So to make a robotic that doesn't make it run stiff can be difficult. So actually kind of having to redesign something that can still be flexible with that animal's expertise, whether if they're very fast, they're nocturnal, they can fly, or just, you know, creepy. For some reason, the first thing that comes to mind is an eye, which is like a, I don't know what it is. I think it's a monkey, but it has grossly long fingers to scoop bugs out of trees and whatnot. So just like, yeah, an animal specialty. I think for the cheetah's case, one of the trickier things was how I wanted to design the spots. Like, there are a lot of spots on a cheetah because they're small and very Dalmatian-like. So to have something that makes sense, or looks like light bulbs, or if it's just a paint job, or if it actually is carved into the metal, or it works around it, I don't know. Like, it's a bit of a puzzle piece that could go through many different ways, but I think I decided to do it as just a paint job on it. And I didn't do nearly as many spots as there actually are on a cheetah or a king cheetah, which is what I'm using references of. So there's a bit of an artistic choice and whatnot. I think I also originally wanted the eyes to be blue, but I decided to change it to red.